Right. This is going to be very boring for anyone that doesn't like horses or watching paint dry. But I thought I'd just video my favourite bit, or a little bit of my favourite bit of a painting, which is the last bits where I'm just adjusting the highlights and some of the colours. Like I've already got lots of nice blues and purples, and I'm just going to play around and put a little bit more in. So I think a bit more purple first, use a bit of a larger brush. No, this one. Great. So I think so I have a lot of purple here, a little bit too much compared to the rest of it, so I'm going to balance that up, put a little bit more in somewhere else. And what I've got is a very soft brush that if you kind of lightly feather it, it catches the grain of the canvas, and you just get a kind of, it's like when you use pastels actually, it's similar to that. So I'm actually having to balance up, because I'm looking at that, there's too much mauve there, so I need to put violet, and I need to put some in some few other places just to kind of be a bit around there. Let's have a look around here, some here. This stage of the painting being the last bit, normally, I don't know, I could spend 2 or 3 hours on this, and it's my favourite bit because it's it's where it gets I don't know, you're just sort of testing out some of the different tones and the different colours, and I'll put a little bit of mauve in his eye there, I think, try and catch a bit of highlight. Yeah, quite like that. And perhaps some over here. So it's a way of you know, adding little bits of colour here and there, so you get an overall. I'm trying to make the thing vibrate. I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying to get that kind of shimmering of light that you get. This is the first time I've used a canvas this wide. It's not very easy. You have to keep moving around from place to place with it. So, and I have another brush where it's a little bit too strong. I can just sort of smudge it in a little bit. So I get to use my, well, I've been training the left hand. It's getting better at it. He's not quite as coordinated as my right hand, but he's, you know, he's in training, just in case. So again, anyone that's used pastels is kind of similar to, you know, you use various different things to smudge it in. I'll use this. I like paintings that have, wherever you look, it's interesting to look at. I don't like paintings where, you know, there's not much going on. A lot of people don't like that. They like things very, very simple, which is fine. But I like music like that as well, where it's sort of multi-layered. There's a lot of things happening all the time. Yeah, that's good. So that's evening out some of the. Oop, too much. Obviously, the underlaying, the layers underneath this are already dry. Otherwise, I'd just sort of upset the painting itself. So got that shape there. Okay, now it's like a little bit in here. Break up some of that blue down there. So I'm basically putting the blues and the purples in the shadowy bits, and then the reds and the oranges and yellows are going to go in the bits where the light is striking. So he's okay. It's a nice bit of purple there. So I'm not going to video much of this because it would be too boring for anybody watching, but I'm going to just I basically would go backwards and forwards like this possibly for quite some hours until I was happy with. And at the end, what I have to do is at the end I have to look I have to take my glasses off and look at it with my eyes blurred, and then I can see if anything's too dark, if anything's standing out too much. And here and there I can turn it, like if I blow my eyes here, this is all a bit too blue and a bit kind of strange looking, so I kind of need to probably knock down that. This is there's a bone under there, but I've made it a bit too prominent, I think. Here I don't know what's going on, so I'll make something up. Oh yeah, and I've lost these horses have a sort of a sharp gap, 2 plates of bone here. I've done a lot of drawing horse skulls and things like that, just to get a bit of an, it always helps when you know the anatomy of it. So I quite like that. That's a bit more like this one's got, you can see it, and that one and that one. So he's now got a bit of more of a suggestion of there being some bone there. Let's put a little bit of that colour in. You see there's not very much on here. This is a dry brush technique. Just a little tiny hint of purple in the eye. And if it's too much, I'll just smudge it in a bit. That'd be quite nice to have some here. Anyway, so I'll carry on with that for a while, but what I'm also going to do, just because it's the video, is I'm going to put some extra highlights in as well. And again, using the fact that as long as you don't press very hard, you get a grainy look, which is the weave of the canvas. So I'm just going to put in a few little. This is my favourite bit. I love this. Don't know why. And I learned all about doing this. Well, I may not be brilliant at it, but I learned about it from standing up very close to Rembrandt's, because he was a master at it. I don't have too many because I'm not quite sure where the light's coming from. It's kind of dispersing because you've got them all sort of standing together, so I'm getting away with things probably that I shouldn't get away with really. I think if you do anything with enough authority, people don't tend to question it. Other artists will hate it, but they're not going to buy it, so it doesn't matter. So I like this effect here. That's nice, where it sort of. Oops. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. So I'm just using white, pretty much pure white, and I'm kind of just imagining where possibly there might be. Yeah, so I don't want to do too much more there. I've kind of got that. But can I have a little bit there? So we've already got these highlights here. I've covered. Get a bit more up here. So you get some nice feathery look. Right, where else might we get a bit of light? Right, let's sort that out. I've got nice thick paint here. Because he's closest, I want him to be quite, you know, I want to feel like I could actually touch the face. I'm allergic to horses. I'm allergic to anything with fur. So this is one of the ways I can be close to them. I'm not allergic to paint, luckily. But I like to feel that I could, you know, that's why I like the life-size look, because I feel like I actually stroke his nose. In real life I'd be sneezing my face off by now, but here I am. I'm able to do it. Do I want to do it now? I've still got to make that less mauve. Any more little highlights, perhaps pick out a little bit here, or not. So some here. And then if I use a sort of very light tone here, it could look like the light's kind of dispersing. That's quite nice. And so if you go and see the Rembrandts in the National Gallery, you can, where he does all these, you know, he sometimes painted himself in big lace collars. And he looked like he put the white paint on with a toothbrush. He just It's really, really thick. So the lighter the highlight, the thicker the paint is you use. And there's a white horse behind here. And so I'm just using pure white quite thickly here as well. I've kind of gotten a bit lost with the eyelashes and stuff. That's a bit of eyelid. I don't want to be too, I want to keep him a bit blurry because I'm not sure how his anatomy is behind there. He's a bit too, as long as I've got a hint of an eye, I'm happy. And then here and then there I can put in some. I like the way that light comes through. You see it